Everything old is new again. America's entertainment pop culture talk show.
It may well possess a rudimentary intelligence.
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Felt a great disturbance in the force.
Hello, I'm Mr. Red.
Come on, bark like a dog for me.
Where's the goodies? Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
I bet you wouldn't have done anything like this if Mom and Dad were here.
You filthy criminal.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Here are your hosts, Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Gotta say, why didn't you call me when you were there? It would have been nice if you called.
You know, I was busy, Andy. I couldn't see you.
No,
I'm sorry.
I'm not talking about that. Just call me. I figure if you're in town, just call me and say hello. I didn't need to see you. I didn't need to come visit.
I know, but what's the difference? I could call you when I'm in L.A. I don't see the logic to it.
No, you know what I'm talking about. Don't be a putz. What are you talking about?
How about that? A little piece of Curb Your Enthusiasm. You heard one of the funniest guest stars of Curb Your Enthusiasm right there. And that gentleman is a guest right here this week on Everything Old is New Again with Douglas Viviani. Sans, unfortunately, David Cohen can't make it this week, but it doesn't matter in some ways because we have a special guest star from 1978 forward. Richard Kind has been all over your TV, stage, movies. If you take one look at any one of the 107 films, 130 TV shows, more appearances than that, but just the shows, and countless stage performances, you'll find that you know Richard Kind. You know his face for sure. You enjoy his comedy. And tell you what, he supports other actors and the stories that he's in a way that makes these productions come to life. Recently, you've seen him in Curb Your Enthusiasm, as you just heard.
When the hell do I get to talk?
We're not going to leave you any time because it's all my show. No, I'm just about done. Because I want everybody to know that the Mayor of Gotham's with us, the Formica King in Goldbergs is with us. Gentlemen from Spin City, Mad About You. It goes on and on and on. Animated characters in the Cars series, Bing Bong and Inside Out. And we're just not going to list them all. We don't have the time exactly right. Richard Kind, welcome to Everything Old is New Again.
Thank you very much. And thank God Dave isn't here because he's a hack.
And
so it's all yours.
All he would do would be interrupt you for his own ingrid.
I got something to say, of course.
Now you...
Okay, first of all, let me ask you, up until this season, up until the most recent season, how many episodes of Curb Your Enthusiasm do you think I was in?
You were in 7.
I was in 3.
Really?
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy because you know, it's omnipresent. You've made an impression, let's put it that way.
Thank you. I mean, I'm so annoying. And when you were going over all of my credits and everything, I'm going, Jesus, I'm the earwig of showbiz. You just can't get rid of me. You try. You go in there with a Q-tip, with a chopstick. You just can't get rid of me. But anyway, yes, so I've done lots and lots of things.
Well, that's the question now. Since 78, you've been working all the time, it appears.
78, now hold on. I was working a lot in 78, but nobody knew it.
Right.
I mean, that was, those are the growing years. You learn who you're about, and then from after 78, that was like years in New York. I then went to Second City, where it's like, that was like grad school. And being on stage every night, that really taught me everything. So, it's not until late 80s, early 90s till I just became annoying. Where I was all over the place.
Well, let me ask you this. Where did you get the ability? Because I think you have the ability. Now, let's put it this way. You come on shows that exist already. Characters have already been established. Let's just say Goldbergs, for example. And all of a sudden, you come on and make a character that's, number one, memorable, but right away appears to fit right in with the chemistry of the group.
That's a really interesting question. All right. Let me. There's a couple of answers to give you. First of all, I love going on individual TV shows. Okay? I think you get to go on, you get to create a character, you are with people who you usually like, because I happen to like actors, and certainly they're with characters that I know. The only thing is that there is a stigma about going onto as a guest star, because the amount of money that you can make is very limited. You're only on once, twice, whatever it is, and then that's all you become known as. And you need, in order to make a living, you have to be a regular on a TV show. Doing guest spots can make you a stigma. It can give you a stigma. You regular role or anything like that. So I try and keep away from it because of that. However, the actor and the egoist likes to do what he does. The second thing is I like to think of it as sort of a repertory company. You know, I'm a one-man repertory guy. Come on, I do this character, I do that character. That to me is so exciting, and I'm not permitted to do it because of the restrictions that I just told you. And how do I do it? Has nothing to do with me. It's easy when a TV show is on for a while. How much can you talk about the regular characters? So you got to invite somebody in who can have an impact on them and therefore drive their story. Plus, when you're introducing somebody, it's easy to write because you're saying new things. You have a new subject. So new characters are very easy to write. And a lot of times the people on the show will say, no, but why aren't you writing like that for me? You know, this week my stuff is terrible, and look how good this character is. It's all because they get to say something new, and the writer's mind could become fertile. So usually they're pretty good parts.
Yes, and then though, do they ask you? There must be some times when they ask you to come back based on, I don't know whether it's the producers or the audience's response to, let's say, Formica King. You know,
it's all that. Of course, it's all commerce. You know, if you did a good job and you're funny and you serve the scene well, and maybe they get a sense that the audience like it. There's a myriad of reasons, but they're all what you would expect, and you hope for that. But like I said, it's just more, you can't make a living on it, but it's a lot of fun.
All right, now let's take us a look at the inside, because we all hear, I think the word is out on Curb that it's not scripted, and we just hear rumors and different things. It seems to be where it's not scripted, there is an idea to each scene and each episode, but how you get there sort of is up to the improv skills of the various actors, comedians on the show. Is that right? Or?
It's both true and false.
Right.
Imagine an O. Henry story that's presented to a troupe of actors, and you break it down scene by scene. Okay, so an O. Henry story can go on for 30 pages. Right? And you break it down scene by scene. O. Henry did not write the dialogue. You have to make it up. So, you know, you say a married couple is in their bedroom, and she's combing her hair, and he's looking at his pocket watch. And then you say, go. And you get the two people talking. That's what Curb is, but it is very detailed in its story. If you have 22, 26 minutes, whatever it is that an episode is, that scenario could take 12 to 16 pages. He's very specific on what he wants, but not the words that he wants to convey it. Every once in a while, he'll give you one line, like, you had Chinese food that day. Andy complains that he had a turkey that day or whatever it was. But he's very specific about it. So whenever I finish a take or we do a scene, my question is not how was I, not am I funny. I literally say these words: is that what you want? Because you know that he has in his head when he's sitting down and writing this exactly how it should go, and you either match it perfectly, it's not as successful, or you surpass what he thought the scene might be.
That's an amazing description. Thank you for bringing us behind the scenes there, peeling the onion. With respect to, we hear the word then improv in the ability for the actors, I guess we'd say, to carry out those specific goals in a scene. So is that right? I mean, or is it just an improv in the way that you're presenting it? Or is it the words? Or both?
It's the dialogue.
Right.
The only thing we supply is the dialogue. Everything else has been mastered by Larry.
Right.
It's
okay.
the dialogue that we present the story, and a story has to unfold. So, you go in and you go in and you want to buy a pack of cigarettes. Okay, you know what happens during the scene. What do you say to the man at the counter? What do you say to the people in the store that you bump into? It doesn't. That's not funny. But you know what you're going in for.
Right.
You're going in to buy a pack of cigarettes. Let's dramatize that. Quite often it's boring. Life is boring. You don't go in with a preconceived notion, what am I going to say if I have to pass by a woman who's buying milk? What will I say? Of course you don't say anything. You make it up. You go, excuse me, I'm sorry, I have to get through. It's not funny. It's not entertaining. Larry writes entertaining stories.
Right. So he gives you the platform, and you get to play with it a little bit, as opposed to a scripted show, you know?
I'm sure every once in a while something fun or unexpected that was not necessarily in the scene might come out. But Larry has the great good fortune of editing out what just happened, no matter how brilliant it is, because he's got 26 minutes to tell a story, and he can't take this tangent.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, that's a tremendous start to our conversation with Richard Kind here. Everything Old is New Again. We will be back right after this with Richard Kind right here on Everything Old is New Again.
You're listening to Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Hi, this is Xander Berkeley, and you're listening to Everything Old is New Again with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Welcome back to Everything Old is New Again. That, of course, was Xander Berkeley, you know, from 24 and, you know, from Walking Dead. We played that as a little bit of, what would we say? We're showing off here a little bit for our guest, Richard Kind, who you know if you hear his voice, you know if you see his face, but maybe you don't know the name. I don't know. And that leads us into the next thing that we discussed. Yes.
Can I just tell you about Xander Berkeley?
Yes.
This is some of the things that I love in the business that I've chosen is that I get to meet people like Xander Berkeley and I get to work with them. Now, I knew him as a friend and in social situations, never worked with him, didn't know whether I ever would, was invited to do a script reading at the Directors Guild, or maybe it was the Writers Guild, but Xander was going to be in it with his wife, so it was just the three of us, and I flew from New York to L.A. on my own dime. It would never have gotten me work. I certainly didn't get paid just to work with Xander Berkeley because I love him so much.
And that's amazing. So we've got a small circle, and that means that when you're finished with our show, you're going to be so excited that you've been on Everything Old is New Again and had the privilege of sharing the stage, if you will, with Xander Berkeley in the past. You're going to give him a call and tell him that Viviani's not so bad, right? What the heck?
I've already texted him.
Oh, okay, you go. Now, listen, that leads me into a little bit of a conversation that I want to have about something called the Carney Awards. Now, Xander won that in 2017 in the third incarnation or the third presentation of that award.
I won that year, too.
Exactly. You were there with him as well. And so I wanted to talk about that a little bit because here's the thing. A little side note here is my wife heard you, I think, probably around 17 or 18 on a local show here. It's actually kind of national, too. It's Elvis Duran in the Morning. And she's not as big a fan of pop culture as I am, and everyone's listening to our show knows that we're doing it 7 years. We talk about the wife, and she's not been on the show yet. So that tells you a little something. But but you and your discussion with Elvis Duran, I'm sure you may not remember this because it's long ago, a little while ago, and you do so many interviews, but you turned her on in that you were very interesting, very engaging, and you left a lasting impression upon her. So if you could do that, I'm just trying to say with her, you certainly do that with an audience, and you're an engaging personality. Is that something, just before we get to the Carneys, that is a natural thing that you developed on stage and over time? Was it something, a piece of your personality from day one? Because, you know.
I was very lucky that I was raised my dad was a jeweler. He had a beautiful jewelry store in Princeton, New Jersey. And my dad could sell ice to the Eskimos. He was just a gregarious, good guy because he used to say that there is nothing negative about jewelry. You never have to buy it for a death. You don't have to buy it for any sad reason. It's only positive. And I think that I would be a good salesman, and I'm trying to approach the world, interviews, whatever it is, with that same sense that let's sell something, which I'm selling me. I'm selling interesting stories. You know, let's face it. I didn't get up this morning to do this interview because I love it. I did it because I was asked to do it. The show sounds interesting, and why not? Let's go do an interview. So why not do it with that frame of mind? Let's make it up. Let's make it happy. Let's hope that people will want to hear me. I am really thrilled that your wife wants to her husband. Okay, that's but that thrills me. You know, and you know what else? And Jeff Garland said this. Okay, not to bring it back to Curb Your Enthusiasm, but we used to talk about being a guest on a talk show, and he goes, "Don't ever come on without knowing exactly the stories that you want to tell. Don't think that it's just going to be, let's talk about this, let's see what comes up. You've got to go prepared." I was not prepared for this show because this is an interview where you want really information. It's not my job to totally entertain. But on those talk shows, you got to entertain. You are there to entertain.
And to sell, right? Yeah, you're there to entertain. You're there to entertain and to sell that the latest project or whatever it might be that you're the reason why you're there.
You can sell yourself. Maybe the latest project will sell. I also have, I'm very good. I rarely bring it up, but I will say this, and we've talked about it. I have a good friend, George Clooney, and we talk about whenever you give a speech, your job, okay, you're going to honor somebody or you're going to speak about how good they are, but your first job, entertain.
Right.
And if you can entertain, the person being honored will be grateful. It doesn't matter what kind words you say about that person. If you are entertaining, you will serve the person you're honoring.
And I appreciate that. That does make sense because David and I have to do that and enjoy doing that every week, not only with these tremendous interviews, but besides that, of course, we do the show just the two of us and talk pop culture, and that topic changes every single week. So one week it might be The Walking Dead, the next week it might be who's the best Disney princess from our perspective. So if you're not engaging as a host and as a show, it doesn't matter what the topic is. You need to have an engaging personality.
Your guest could be boring, and that is the worst thing that could happen to your show. You have to make your guest truly entertaining, and if he doesn't meet you halfway, then you just got to keep going.
Right, and you're great at doing that, and I want to say somebody else that probably was great at doing that was Art Carney, and these Carney Awards, people don't know necessarily, briefly, is, from what I can understand...
Beautiful segue I've ever heard. Because how the hell do we know that Art Carney was any good? But go ahead.
Well, I'll tell you. We have a little bit of celluloid from him, and I'll tell you what, I would love to have interviewed him because he was an exciting and interesting individual, but the award is named after him because, from what I see, it's kind of, lack of a better word, it's an honor to the second banana or an honor to someone that supports the main actors in all of these different productions, and I suggest that would be and is something that is honorable and should be rewarded, let's say, with some kind of an accolade. You won that, and if you want to talk about either the award itself or maybe in some way, who would you suggest or nominate next?
I have an answer to that. First of all, it was lovely. The award is lovely. The guys who put it on are such menschs. They're such great guys, and they like what they were doing. And look, you and I love the character actors. We love them more than the leading actors. America loves the leading actors. We freaks love the character actors.
Right.
And when I lay in bed as a kid, I wanted to be the star. Of course I did. And then I got into the business. I worked, and I found out not only is character acting what I love to do, it was sort of born. I was born to do it because I don't have the looks of a leading man. So I was pigeonholed. I have to be not the leading man, and you support, and you often find that it's fun supporting. First of all, you walk down the street. Not everybody wants to touch you. Not everybody wants to shake your hand. Not everybody wants your autograph. They're 5 feet behind. I've already walked past them, and I go, wait, that was that guy from,
right.
And I don't have to talk to him. So that's fantastic. And it is, sometimes you get a good reservation at a restaurant, or maybe you get bumped up to business class because of it, but it doesn't really enter your life as much as the pressures, the horrible pressures of being a leading actor.
Right, and being stalked by all those people.
You're a prisoner of it. I don't have to be a prisoner of it. I can have a decent life.
It does make sense. It does make sense. Turning just specifically, just trying to...
Wait.
Yeah.
I'll tell you another thing that is pressure-filled. A leading actor has the pressure of selling a movie.
Right.
A character actor has no pressure. He comes on, he's a little dancing monkey, and he does his work, and then he leaves. But a star, he has to answer to stockholders because the tentpole movie is going to be that. If it bombs, he doesn't have a career. And also, let's say you go on location. When he says yes to he or she says yes to a movie, an industry erupts. You have dry cleaning and food and a crew. So many people start making money because they said yes to a movie. I say yes to a movie, they go, okay, be here on Tuesday and do your stuff, and then we'll see you later. Right. That's what it is.
It's true. It makes a lot of sense. I just wanted to pivot a little bit just because we're on the Carney, what would you say, bandwagon here for a minute. He was in The Honeymooners, as we know, in the 50s and 60s with Gleason. Yeah. Gleason did not like to rehearse. We all heard that. He would come on the stage the day of the show, and he wanted to be spontaneous and some form of improv, early days, let's just call it, where there were surprises from him, mistakes from him, but Carney had to react, and the cast did.
I don't want to improvise. I don't think he likes to improvise.
No, it's a good point. I think it was Art Carney would react with his improv.
He thought that rehearsal would make everything stale. He wanted to be fresh. Although he was a magnificent actor, he wasn't a trained actor. Art Carney is a trained actor. You got a line, you got to make it fresh each time. Gleason was worried he couldn't make it fresh each time. Frank Sinatra was the same way. They say that when Edward G. Robinson was doing Hole in the Head with Frank Sinatra, he couldn't stand the way that Frank Sinatra worked because he would do it all in one take, maybe two takes, and then he would demand that they move on. Robinson was an actor. He was a stage actor. He worked hard, and it was his job to make everything new and fresh. Sinatra didn't do that. So you get two very, very different styles of acting. And Carney, who was a theater actor, did so much theater, and the other players knew everything they had to do so that if, by making it fresh, Gleason either forgot his lines or did whatever, they were prepared. They were more than prepared.
Right, and that's a great discussion of Art Carney for what we can do here in the few minutes that we have with Richard Kind. We're having a nice discussion. Come on back right after this on America's entertainment pop culture talk show. Everything old is new again. We'll be right back.
Now, back to America's entertainment pop culture talk show. Everything old is new again with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Wasn't it roses?
Yes, it was. You have a wonderful memory. It was a Blue Rose Cafe. You were wearing a little pink number. And I remember I laughed because I told you my mother had the exact same outfit. And remember I told you you were pretty, but you're not beautiful.
We're back here and Everything Old is New again with the subject of that Hank Azaria imitation from 2017, Don't Quit Your Night Job. We're here with Richard Kind, a gentleman that if you turn the television on right now, he's on some show somewhere, and you may or may not know it, but he's there. And Richard, thanks for coming back. We're spending some great time with you behind the scenes and really enjoying it. That's a little bit of a surprise clip that I didn't know you may or may not have thought that we would play for you, but there's, of course, someone parroting you, imitating you.
You know what?
Yes.
You think that only everybody, all of my friends, do an imitation of me. It's just crazy. And the funny thing is, I can't do me. The only time I can ever do me, because it has the vowels in it, there was once a show called The Commish with, Michael Chiklis.
Right.
And it was done in Vancouver. And I was, that's early on, but I was a recurring character on that show as well. I think I was the mayor of the town or whatever it is, or the police chief. That was something. And so I used to play guards with Hank and a lot of people. And they go, will you be here next week? And I go, I can't. I'm doing a commish. So whenever I have to imitate me, I always go, I'm doing a commish. And that's if anybody wants to ever imitate me, just say, I'm doing a commish.
Analogous to Judy when you're imitating Cary Grant, right?
That is my Judy. I'm doing a commish. So, but everybody does. I'm telling you, Dan Castellaneta did a great one while we were at Second City, and we used to do, battling me. Like it's not so hard.
Well, I'll tell you, but it's fun, and it's certainly flattering, I would think. And in the end of that, though, you talked about that clip is a little, and I've heard the story, but maybe if you could do the Reader's Digest version of this pretty versus beautiful comment. It seems to be following you everywhere. I don't know why. People are getting a kick out of you.
That's an outrage. That's an outrage, and it was as complimentary as anything, and I get accused by him of doing that. I can tell you exactly who it was. Kristen Johnston. I went out. She was a young actress. She was about to go out to L.A. She's very good in New York, theater actress. I went out to dinner with her, and she shared an agent with Hank. So the four of us were there. I think Kristen Johnston is beautiful. I think she's beautiful. She's certainly talented, tall, leggy, beautiful, beautiful face, but not a typical beauty, okay?
Right.
She's not Jennifer Aniston. As much as she'd like to, she's not. So she's going to be singular in Los Angeles, and I think that is a great thing. So I said, you're going to do so well because you're so pretty, but what I guess I should have said is you're not the typical L.A. blonde beauty.
Right.
You're just beautiful. That's what I was going for. All right, my words were not exact, and yes, but that's what I said. But I was giving her words of encouragement that you're going to do great in Los Angeles. Don't be afraid because you're so pretty, and it's not the typical pretty that everybody expects from quote-unquote L.A., okay? Right. I thought I was being very nice. I get maligned for it, but I'll take it.
I'll tell you what.
And she did very well, didn't she?
She did tremendous. And here's the thing. I don't get the objection, but I'll tell you what, it's really weird. I have called my wife pretty, and she, for some reason, I don't know, women aspire to the beautiful word, and pretty doesn't work for them. I don't get it. Is it I guess we're not getting it on that side. I know what you're saying. It's a compliment.
I will tell you something else. I think Kristen Johnston is beautiful.
Right.
But not in the showbiz way of being beautiful.
Right, you're just trying to distinguish a little bit from,
That's exactly what I'm saying. So yes, I get maligned for it. I will live with it. I don't argue. It's what I said, and take it however you want. But that is what I meant.
There you go. Let's segue a little bit to the idea that certainly we've talked about you do drama, and you've been on, I should say, comedy. You've been on Spin City and all these shows we've been talking about. Right. But you've also been on, for example, the Mayor of Gotham in the Gotham show, which I thought was dark but fun. You were on there like 13 times. So, and you've certainly done other drama. From your perspective as a stage actor, as certainly someone that has a background in comedy, and then now performs in drama. Maybe not which you prefer, but is drama easier, you think?
It's a horrible way to look at it.
Yeah.
I'm an actor. If the genre calls for a certain form of acting, I will serve it. I know what my place is. So I got nominated for a Tony on Broadway for a Clifford Odets play. Okay? I was a horrible, brutal, villainous studio head in that play. I was hateful. It's a blast. But if I did that on Curb Your Enthusiasm, they'd get rid of me. You read the play or the script, and you find out what the script needs. How do I tell the story? And you act it. You pretend that you are in that situation. There's a lot of difference between how I talk and mad about you versus how I'll talk on a show called Luck.
Right.
Okay, which was a David Milch show. And yet both are sort of nebbishy. They're nebbishy guys. They're weak, but it's different.
But that might be the beauty of being a character actor, in that you can, go from one to the other. Because it seems like, in Hollywood, you're pigeonholed, and you're the comedian, you're the drama person, and so forth.
Of course, and I don't blame them. The thing is, I wish that they didn't have the blinders, but I don't blame them because they have a product. And if you come onto set and you are known for comedy, they may not look at it that way. The audience may not look at you with the same way that if you get a dramatic actor who comes to the table with a background of performances. But every once in a while, a good director or a good writer will take the chance and give me the opportunity to be to act it. Look, you know what movie I saw last night? Casino.
Right.
That is a bevy of the great comedians, Kevin Pollak, Don Rickles, Alan King. These were guys who were hired to be as straight can be.
Right.
But what did they do for a living? Get up on stage and make people laugh. And yet Scorsese was brave enough to do what he did and took those three phenomenal comics and give them dramatic roles, and they were great.
But I 100% agree. But I also think that the idea that someone that is on stage alone as a comedian, let's say, as a career builder in the beginning, it makes you attuned to different things. You're so much more aware of what you're creating and what you're doing with the audience, that I think it lends itself to drama, because look at the drama behind the scenes. Comedy is serious business, and it's not easy to do. So I don't know, in some ways I think it lends itself to really doing a drama later on after you've created this comedy persona.
But the whole thing isn't. But they're using the word later on. It's not like I said, I want to go do drama now. It's that people are giving me the opportunity to do drama on a big screen. I did it on stage for years and years, but all people knew me about in L.A. was the comedy that I did, and after a while, I started turning down the type of comedy that I used to do because I hated it. For camera, after a while, it was more difficult than you would think for me, because I started to tell the truth more. And in sitcoms, you have to extend the truth a little bit.
Right.
First of all, you're holding for laughs. Who in the world in life holds for a laugh?
Right.
Who rides a laugh from 300 people? You don't do that in life. But I still have it and can do it. And sometimes you like doing it on stage. I love it. I love doing it.
Well, now on stage, talking about that, you and Max Bialystock in Producers 2002.
The thing is, on stage, you can ride the laugh in a reality that is in the script. On sitcoms, you can't, because there are cuts, and you have to keep, you have to get a laugh this third line, and then you can ride it, but they can cut your reactions. The reactions are it's very difficult to explain, but they are different genres. Alan Arkin talked about this on an interview with Bob Costas about what he learned in Second City. At Second City, you learn, what is my job in the scene to tell the story? Am I the good cop? Am I the bad cop? Am I getting the laughs? Am I pushing it forward? Am I just laying pipe, meaning just laying out the story rather than reacting? Are you controlling the scene? You find out what you do in the scene, and that's what you do. That's how you serve it. And that's something that I did learn on stage for 4 years, every night in front of an audience, 6 nights a week. It was tough.
Yeah, and it was.
But it's great training. That's why I called it my graduate school.
I was going to say, it sounded like it was great training, so to speak, for what you later became, which is one of the premier character actors in the television and movies today and theater. My pleasure. We're here on Everything Old is New again for one more section. Come on back with none other than Richard Kind, and Everything Old is New again.
Green diamonds.
See, I got this guy in the Diamond District. A disgusting monster. I'll hook you up.
Yep, nothing but the best from my Mikey.
This is Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
And remember, sir, what we went over about the people-friendly gestures, right?
The shrunken thumb, the soft chop.
No, see, the soft chop goes away from the torso. Never toward, always away.
I got it, Paul.
Okay, and as far as the height issue, we've raised the podium to give the illusion that you're not quite so tall.
What are you, Doug Henning?
Bing Bong! We did it! Bing Bong? Bing Bong!
You made it! Go save Riley!
Take her to the moon for me, okay?
I'll try, Bing Bong. I promise.
There we go. That's a memorable scene, I think, or scenes from Spin City and Bing Bong himself from Inside Out. If you haven't seen that animated feature, it's tremendous. And we are here on Everything Old is New Again with Richard Kind, who's the voice, of course, of Bing Bong in that last section we heard there. And I wanted to segue there in that. We heard just, your career is so varied and so large in terms of the volume of material that you have presented to us and had us enjoy. But there was Spin City straight out comedy, and then with Inside Out, just using your voice, I think you were able to show comedy and then the sorrow and the heart of this animated character, Bing Bong, as he basically goes to his, silly to say, but goes to his death as this...
Childhood goes to his death. Listen, it's great that I did a good job. I'm very thrilled. I ride the coattails of a lot of geniuses. People remember me because of the genius behind the people who created the work that I'm doing. We were talking about Larry David. There is no question the man's a genius. Pete Docter, who is one of the great guys of the world, and what his ethos comes out in his work. That's why Inside Out is so good. I'm just riding the coattails of a great character that he wrote. Okay, Spin City, Gary David Goldberg, who created Family Ties in Spin City, along with Bill Lawrence, who continues to be just a genius with the form of entertainment that he's chosen, with Scrubs, Spin City, and now that one with Jason Sudeikis that I hear is very good. He's brilliant. He's brilliant at what he does. I'm along for the ride. That's what I am, and I hope that I serve it well. I've been lucky. I worked with Arthur Penn from Bonnie and Clyde. I worked with the Coen brothers. I worked with Clint Eastwood. I did movies for... It's unbelievable. You really have to screw things up if you are bad in any of those things. They're so good.
Well, you're being modest on some level, too, and I acknowledge certainly everything you say there, but if you didn't execute what they were looking for properly, you wouldn't be asked back to do something else. So, obviously, you're doing it well.
Yes, but I get to meet them halfway. It's more than halfway. They write it out there, and you do it. It's the job.
Well, let me ask you this then: when you're doing an animated feature like you've done Cars and you've done in television American Dad, and we talked about Inside Out there, on the piece of paper that you're seeing your lines in Bing Bong's death, there it was touching, and you were able to present an adult emotion to what apparently is supposed to be a child's project, but quite frankly, animation today is not just for children. They, of course, include these themes,
But look at the situation. She has changed. She has found what's good in her world and has to get back to help this young girl, Ellie. So we know what she wants. What do I have to do? I gotta. Not only do I have to save her, I have to sacrifice my life, or quote unquote, we sacrifice our childhood, so that a young 11-year-old girl can start to grow up.
Right.
It's all there on paper. All you got to do is read it, interpret it, and hope that your emotional life will support what those words.
Well, did you read the whole script, or do you just read the lines? Like I'm being facetious here, because some people might just come and read the lines that as presented and move on.
I gotta tell you something. On American Dad, sometimes they give me the script, sometimes they don't. They'll always. I do Mickey Mouse's Fun Time Playhouse, which is a spectacular show for young kids. But do I want to read about Daisy? Going on a picnic?
Right.
Not always. I'll skim it. With Inside Out, at first we didn't get to read the script. I wasn't able to. Then I did. But that's a movie, And I was in the sessions. I must have done 8 sessions for that movie. They changed it. They reanimated it. They changed the story. So a lot goes on, especially a Pixar movie. You get hired and you do the work, and you don't see that movie for a year and a half, 2 years.
Right.
It's
a big project.
It is a very tedious and painstaking process.
Well,
on all fronts.
and as more or less as this interview's been for you, I know, and I appreciate your time. I wanted to just turn for a moment and ask you.
Wait, hold on. Can I say one other thing?
Of course.
You rarely do the voice with the person that you're acting with. Like I did Bug's Life with Kevin Spacey. Never met him.
Isn't that
I met
interesting?
him socially. I've known him for years and years, but I forgot that Kevin Spacey was my brother.
So you're not reacting at all, and some people say acting is reacting, right? Is that...
Of course it is. There's somebody there reading with you.
Right.
But it's not Kevin Spacey.
Right, and it's not the exact way they present it.
Sometimes if it's available, I'll ask for the line to be played over the speaker to see how did he do it so that I can react in such a way. But yes, acting is reacting. That's absolutely true.
And it must be difficult to do, as we're just saying, without the particular actor right there, and you do it well. Now, let me ask you this. We, and Everything Old is New Again, as we know, celebrate, our listeners know, celebrate the entertainment of the past, and we know that it serves as the foundation of what we do today. First, I guess, just a basic question. We'll see. Do you believe that is somewhat a postulation that is true? And if so, what have or did affect you when you were growing up and growing into this profession that serves as somewhat of the foundation of what you do now?
First of all, I agree with you totally, which is why I celebrate shows like this and this show. Look, you study history. Why? Because you got to see what came before so that you know how to act while you're living the life now. You read books. They still read Jane Austen. They still read Charles Dickens. Why? Because there is a history, and you have to see how things evolve. I feel the same way about movies and a lot about TV shows. I have 3 kids. I try and show them the old movies. I try and show them Hitchcock. I show them Capra. I show them Preston Sturges. Sometimes I see why they don't like them. They really hate black and white. But it is essential to know what the history of entertainment is so that you can watch Avengers and know what came before it or how did it get there. And I think it's history. And I think you are the better person for it. It's how I was raised, and I was raised my grandparents lived on East 69th Street in the city. They used to take me to theater all the time, and then I used to just go by myself when I got a little older. I lived in Pennsylvania, but it was an hour trip to New York. It is essential that people be learned and remember the past because it impacts the present.
Thank you, and I appreciate that because that's exactly what it couldn't have been said better. It's exactly what we stand for. And with celebrity interviews, it's not always easy for us to do that. Certainly we do that, David and I, one-on-one. But I'm glad to bring you into that and ask you, well, based upon that, is there something that you look back upon in character actors, maybe someone that you've seen and admired doing this profession before? Or is there something in acting in general, someone that
when I was young, my heroes were Woody Allen, Spencer Tracy, W.C. Fields. I loved watching those movies. I remember when they were talking about like Dustin Hoffman, like the world of the character actor, and they were up against John Wayne for the Academy Award for Midnight Cowboy, and they lost to John Wayne doing True Grit. And and of course I was aware of what American lore was and who John Wayne was, but I really did look at Dustin Hoffman, even though I was a young kid and couldn't really understand Midnight Cowboy. But these were the things that I loved. A movie that I always hawk is Witness for the Prosecution, where everybody, even the leading actor, of course Charles Lawton, but Marlene Dietrich, a leading lady, Tyrone Power, a leading man, were character actors. That one kills me. I love Witness for the Prosecution. The movie that really did it for me was MASH. MASH taught me a lot about everything. It taught me about irony. It taught me about camaraderie amongst guys, about taking life seriously but don't take yourself seriously. It taught me about, Elliot Gould and George Segal. They were my heroes when I was growing up.
Right.
I wanted to be Elliot Gould. And then when I meet him, And at one point, I'm in the same room. We're in the waiting room to audition for the same role. What the F is going on here?
Right.
That's crazy.
Thank you again, Richard Kind, for being with us. We certainly appreciate your time. Wish you all the best and hope to have you back sometime in the future.
Thank you so much.
All right, come on back next week for Everything Old is New Again. Continue more things, more discussions, all things entertainment, pop culture. Everything old is new again.
I'm twisted up inside, but nonetheless I feel the need to say